hate calibre, however you pronounce it, but it's probably the better of the note of the reading apps. Programs. God, everything's an app now. God, I feel like an old man. Beginning. All right. Let's see. So, independence has certainly brought the colonized peoples moral reparation and recognized their dignity. Oh, Jesus. There we go. But they have not yet had time to elaborate a society or build and ascertain values. The glowing focal point where the citizen and individual develop and mature in a growing number of areas does not yet exist. Situated in a kind of indeterminate state, they have fairly quickly convinced themselves that everything is decided elsewhere for everyone at the same time. As for the leaders, when confronted with such a situation, they hesitate and choose a policy of neutrality. There is much to be said on the subject of neutrality. Some liken it to a kind of loathsome mercantilism, which consists of taking handouts left and right. Okay. But although neutrality, a creation of the Cold War, allows underdeveloped countries to receive economic aid from both sides, it does not permit either of these two sides to come to the aid of underdeveloped regions the way they should. Those literally astronomical sums invested in arms research, these engineers. Blah, blah, blah. Those literally astronomical sums invested in arms research, these engineers transformed into technicians of nuclear war, could raise the living standards of the underdeveloped countries by 60% in 15 years. It is therefore obvious that the underdeveloped countries have no real interest in either prolonging or intensifying this Cold War. But they are never asked for their opinion, so whenever they can, they disengage. But can they really do so? For example, here is France testing its atomic bombs in Africa, even allowing for the resolutions, the meetings and slammings of the door on diplomatic relations. It cannot be said that the African peoples had much impact on France's attitude in this particular sector. Okay, so add a little note there. As much he said, to the African peoples had much impact on France. Impact on France's attitude. This particular sector. So, what is he saying here? What is he saying here? There's much to be said on the subject of neutrality. Some liken it to a kind of loathsome mercantilism, which consists of taking handouts left and right. Okay, so basically what he's saying is that to get aid from both sides, which underdeveloped countries believe it is to get aid from both sides, which underdeveloped countries believe is necessary. They must remain neutral in the Cold War. However, let's look at that again. Those literally astronomical sums invested in arms research, these engineers transformed into technicians of nuclear war, could raise the living standards of the underdeveloped world, that underdeveloped countries have no real interest. However, um, um, they have a vested interest in ending the Cold War, but they don't have any say on the matter. They don't say in the matter, even as one side or the other. I'm gonna note usually the West in scare quotes. In a matter even they don't have any say in the matter, even as one side or the other tests their weapons in the underdeveloped countries. Oh, that's a good thing to note. Because the underdeveloped countries uh, need the aid, they kind of um, have to allow these tests, um, because the threat of aid is tied around their neck. But let us push on in a particular sector. Neutrality produces in the citizen of the third world an attitude of mind which translates in everyday life to a brazenness and hieratic pride, strangely resembling an act of defiance. All right, I'm gonna have to look up what hieratic means because I don't fucking know. Got so many things open right now. Restream. Oh, what? Sorry. Yeah. Hate reCAPTCHA bridges. No bridges? I don't see any bridges. Oh, there's a, a bridge. Is that a? I can't tell. Looks like a chimney. Oh, I think that's a chimney. Uh, uh, um, nope. Important. All right. I'm gonna change my damn passwords all the goddamn time. Scrap that. reCAPTCHA success. Ugh. You know what? I don't know why I'm even. Why I'm even bothering? Ghost chat. Ghost chat should work. Drink some water. Let's see. Skip. Skip. Um, happens. Um, just release. Mm. Ah, that's why. Restream. Okay. Just had a weird little light flicker. Oh, right, the thing we were looking up. I'm sorry, my brain is not good. This pandemic has really fucking fried it. Made it real stupid. Hieratic. Something to do with hierarchy, I assume? Of or associated with sacred persons or offices. Sacerdotal. Interesting. Another new word. Constituting or relating to a simplified cursive style of Egyptian hieroglyphics used in both sacred and secular writings, or extremely formal or stylized, as in a work of art. What neutrality produces in the citizens of the third world. An attitude of mind which translates in everyday life to a brazenness and hieratic pride. Hieratic pride, a sacred pride, I guess? Religious, sacred kind of pride? It doesn't seem right either. Strangely resembling an act of defiance. This staunch refusal to compromise, this sheer determination to go it alone, recall the behavior of those deprived, self-centered teenagers who were always prepared to fight for to the last over a mere word. All of this disconcerts Western observers. For there is, strictly speaking, a scandalous discrepancy between what these men claim to be and what in fact they have to back them up. These countries without urban transportation, without troops, and without money cannot justify flaunting such bravado. It is without a doubt an imposture. Not an imposter, but an imposture. Imposture. Stuart. Just fixing my shit. Some more, cause I don't know how to do this thing. Wait, why is this all fucked up? That's... No! Why is it weird? Oh, I guess it's fine. It's fine. Stop doing that. Okay, that's fine. All this disconcerts Western observers. These countries without urban transportation, without troops, and without money cannot justify flaunting such bravado. It is without doubt an imposture. The third world often gives the impression it reveal it re- The third world often gives the impression it revels in sensationalism and it needs its weekly dose of crises. These leaders of empty countries who talk too loud are exasperating. You'd like to shut them up. But instead, they are wooed. Interesting. They're given bouquets of flower. Oh, I misread that. Okay. You'd like them to shut up, but instead they are wooed. They are given bouquets of flowers, invitations. To be frank, everyone wants a piece of them, and that is what we call neutrality. For a population 99% illiterate, there is, however, an enormous amount of literature written about them. They're constantly on the move. The leaders and students of the underdeveloped countries are a goldmine for the airlines. Asian and African officials can attend a seminar on socialist planning in Moscow one week, and then another on free trade in London or at Columbia University the next. As for African labor union members, they are making enormous progress. No sooner are they appointed to positions of leadership than they decide to group themselves into autonomous units. They do not have the 50 years experience of labor unions in an industrialized country, but they already know that non-political unionism is an absurdity. Okay. Uh, they have not had to deal with the bourgeois bulldozer. They have not developed a consciousness from the class struggle, but perhaps this is not required. Perhaps we shall see that this totalizing development, we shall see that this totalizing determination, which often becomes a caricature of internationalism, is one of the most basic characteristics of underdeveloped countries. It's totalizing determination. I wonder. I don't know what how he means. But this is kind of my first real foray into like African nationalism and left nationalism. Um, but let us return to the single combat between the colonized and the colonist. It is clearly and plainly an armed struggle. Indochina, Indonesia, and of course North Africa are historical examples. But we should never lose sight of the fact that this struggle could have broken out anywhere. In Guinea, as well as in Somaliland, and even today, it can break out anywhere where colonialism intends to stay. In Angola, for instance. Ooh. The existence of an armed struggle is indicative that the people are determined to put their faith only in violent methods. They're the very same people who had it constantly drummed into them that the only language they understood was that of force, now decide to express themselves with force. Surprise, surprise. In fact, the colonist has always shown them the path they should follow to liberation. The argument chosen by the colonized was conveyed to them by the colonist, and by an ironic twist of fate, it is now the colonized who state that it is the colonizer who only understands the language of force. The colonial regime owes its legitimacy to force, and at no time does it ever endeavor to cover up this nature of things. Every statue of Friedhelber or Liaute, Bagot, or Blandon, every one of these conquistadors ensconced on colonial soil is a constant reminder of one and the same thing. We are here by the force of the bayonets. Everyone knows the rest of the quote. I'm gonna look it up because I don't know it. I'm sure most people watching this stream or this video don't know what this means. or what this quote is. So we are here, unless this is like a rhetorical flourish of the bayonet. I wonder if there is a quote. Idiot for familiar short sayings. Mirabeau. Nope, that's not. It's not whatever this Bartleby.com thing is saying. We're here, ah! Why am I so sleepy? It's only 9:30. No, that's it. We don't fall down black issues in philosophy. We are here by the force of the debate. Moreover, these monuments do the work reminding the colonized. This is why Fanon argued that all these conquistadors and blah blah blah. Okay, this doesn't explain the quote. It's just talking about the Fanon stuff, which is cool. I like it. But also Shmew. Beep 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 beep. Um, beep 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 beep. Copy. Oh, it might help if I share the screen in uh Discord so people know what the fuck is going on. Wretched of the Year. Go live. Cool. All right. Back to it. Back to I gotta look this up too. I don't Manichaeism. I looked it up before. I just how do you is there a no no uh okay, it's a dualistic religion. Founded in the 3rd century AD by the Persian prophet Mani. It be Manichaeism. pronunciation. Let's go to howtopronounce.com. Is there a... I learn how... No? There no... My dumbass doesn't know all the letters for... Oh, what's...
Manichaean.
Okay, Manichaean. Okay, I was right. I know, that was fucking thrilling. Okay, sorry, I just saw that on this thing, and I knew I was gonna come up to it, so I might as well read it. Learn how to pronounce it first. Okay, everyone knows the rest of the quote. During the insurrectional stage, every colonist reasons on the basis of simple arithmetic. Such a logic is no surprise to the other colonists, but it is important to point out that it is no surprise to the colonized either. At first, first and foremost, stating the principle, it's them or us, is not a paradox, since colonialism, as we have seen, is precisely the organization of a Manichaean world. See? Had to read it. Of a compartmentalized world. And when advocating an exact line of procedure, the colonist asks every representative of the oppressor minority to take out 30 or 100 or 200 natives. He realized there is no outcry of indignation, and that at the most, the issue boils down to whether it can be done in one step or in stages. Alright, and I gotta find this note here. Let's see. Book note. Oh, I don't like that. That's weird. Let's do... What is this? Liberation Serif? Ooh, it's fun that it's Liberation Serif. Alright. Liberation Serif. Ah, shit. Liberation Serif. 12-point font. How's the... Alright. What's this say? It is obvious that in general... that this general cleanup destroys the thing one wants to save. That is exactly what Sartre indicates when he says, in short, so I didn't read the prologue, the preface, I guess. Yeah, I didn't read the preface of this on my ASMR channel. I've read the preface to it. It's like 30 pages long, so it's a little long, but in short, by the very act of repeating them, i.e. racist ideas. This general cleanup destroys the thing one wants to save. Ah, okay. In short, by the very act of repeating them, i.e. racist ideas, one shows that it is impossible for everyone to unite simultaneously against the natives, that it is merely shifting reoccurrence, and that in any case such a unification could occur as an active grouping only so as to massacre the colonized people, which is the perpetual absurd temptation of the colonialists, and which, if it were possible, would amount to the immediate destruction of colonization. Critique of Dialectical Reason, translated by Alan Sheridan Smith. Critique of Dialectical Reason. Should put that on my reading list. The ever-growing reading list. I'm gonna die before I read all of these books, because I'm a slow reader and I'm lazy and I don't give a shit. Well, clearly I give a shit, or else I wouldn't be doing this. Anyway, let's continue. This line of reasoning, which envisages the surgical elimination of the colonized, does not morally upset the colonized subject. He has always known that his dealings with the colonist would take place in a field of combat. So, excuse me, jeez. So the colonized subject wastes no time lamenting and almost never searches for justice in the colonial context. In fact, if the colonist's argument leaves the colonized subject unmoved, it is because it's because the latter poses the issue of his liberation in virtually identical terms. Let us form groups of 2 or 500 and let each group deal with a colonist. It is in this mutual frame of mind that both protagonists begin the struggle. Both protagonists being colonist and colonizer. Wait, took me a second. For the colonized, this violence represents the absolute praxis. The militant, therefore, is one who works. The questions which the organization asks the militant bear the mark of The questions which the organization asks the militant bear the mark of this vision of things. Where have you worked? With whom? What have you accomplished? The group requires each individual to have performed an irreversible act. In Algeria, for example, where almost all the men who called on the people to join the national struggle were sentenced to death or wanted by the French police, trust was proportional to the desperate nature of each case. A new militant could be trusted only when he could no longer return to the colonial system. Such a mechanism apparently existed in Kenya with the Mau Mau, who required every member of the group to strike the victim. Everyone was therefore personally responsible for the death of the victim. To work means to work towards the death of the colonist. Claiming responsibility for the violence also allows those members of the group who have strayed or have been outlawed to come back, to retake their place and be reintegrated. Violence can thus be understood to be the perfect mediation. The colonized man liberates himself in and through violence. The praxis enlightens the militant because it shows him the means and the end. Césaire's poetry takes on a prophetic significance in this very prospect of violence. Let us recall one of the most decisive pages of his tragedy, where the rebel, what a coincidence, proclaims, rebel toughly, my family name, offended, my given name, humiliated, my profession, rebel, my age, the Stone Age, mother, my race, the human race, my religion, brotherhood, rebel, my face, the fallen race, my race, the fallen race, my religion, but it is not you who will prepare it with your disarmament. It is I with my revolt and my poor clenched fists and my bushy head. Very calmly. I recall a November day. He was not 6 months old, and the master came into the shack, murky as an April moon, and he was probing the child's small muscled limbs. He was a very good master. He ran his fat fingers caressingly across his little dimpled face. His blue eyes were laughing, and his mouth was teasing him with sugary things. This one will make a good one, the master said, looking at me, and he was saying other friendly things. The master was that you had to start. The master. And he was saying other friendly things, the master was, that you had to start very early, that 20 years were not too much to make a good Christian and a good slave, a good subject, utterly devoted, a good slave driver for an overseer, with a sharp eye and a strong arm. And this man was speculating over my son's cradle, a slave driver's cradle. Mother, alas, he will die. Rebel, killed. I killed him with my own hands. Yes, a fecund and copious death. It was night. We crawled through the sugar cane. The cutlasses were chortling at the stars, but we didn't care about the stars. The cane slashed our faces with streams of green blades. Mother, I had dreamed of a son who would close his mother's eyes. Rebel, I chose to open my child's eyes to another son. Mother, oh my son, an evil and pernicious death. Rebel. Mother, a verdant and sumptuous death. Mother. From too much hate. Rebel. From too much love. Mother. Spare me. I'm choking from your shackles, bleeding from your wounds. Rebel. And the world does not spare me. There is not in the world one single poor lynched bastard, one poor tortured man, in whom I am not also murdered and humiliated. Mother. God in heaven, deliver him. Rebel. My heart, you will not deliver my memories. You will not deliver me my memories. It was a November night, and suddenly clamors lit up the silence. We had leapt we the slaves, we the manure, we beasts with patient hooves. We were running like lunatics, fiery shots broke out. We were striking, sweat and blood cooled us off. We were striking amidst the screams, and the screams became more strident, and a great clamor rose toward the east. The outbuildings were burning, and the flames sweetly splashed our cheeks. Then came the attack on the master's house. They were shooting from the windows. We forced the doors. The master's bedroom was wide open. The master's bedroom was brilliantly lit, and the master was there, very calm. And all of us stopped. He was the master. I entered. It's you, he said very calmly. It was me. It was indeed me. I told him, the good slave, the faithful slave, the slave slave. And suddenly my eyes were two cockroaches frightened on a rainy day. I struck. The blood spurted. It is the only baptism that today I remember. Um, gonna click that. From Amy Césaire, and the dogs were silent in lyric and dramatic poetry, 1946 to 82. Translated by Clayton Eschliman and Annette Smith at Charlottesville, the University of Virginia Press, University Press of Virginia, 1990. Okay. Fine. Just have a fucking dumb Microsoft that. Why does this always do this? I don't understand. LibreOffice. Why do you suck ass? Was this in? I think this was in Wretched Part 3 notes. Yes. Cool. Um. Okay. Looks alright, at least. No. Uh. Liberation Serif. 12-point font. Cool. Cool. Dear, 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 dear. Dear, 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 dear. Um, where did I get that message from? Uh, well, doesn't matter. Okay, before I continue, gonna get a beer real quick. Almost back. Kind of back. Oh, there's a. Had to get some more water too. Fixing my mic. Fixing my mic. So this is brownie points. Could probably look at OBS so I can kind of show it to you. Here, I'm gonna push up for a second. It's a brown ale with vanilla from Maplewood Brewery, which is a local brewery here in Chicago. My roommate delivers stuff to them, not for them. And because he doesn't drink, they give him some and bring it to me. He brings it to me, gives it to me. You know what I'm trying to say? Jeez. Am I like stupid loud? Someone sound off if I'm stupid loud. Sound off however you feel, I guess. Do. All right, let's continue. All right. It is understandable how, in such an atmosphere, everyday life becomes impossible. Being a fellow, a pimp, or an alcoholic is no longer an option. The violence of the colonial regime and the counter violence of the colonized balance each other and respond to each other in an extraordinary reciprocal homogeneity. That's I can't pronounce that today. The greater the number of metropolitan settlers, the more terrible the violence will be. Violence among the colonized will spread in proportion to the violence exerted by the colonial regime. In the initial phase of the insurrectional period of metropolitan governments are slaves of In the initial phase of this insurrectional period, the metropolitan governments are slaves of the colonists. These colonists are a threat to both the colonized and their own governments. They will use the same methods indiscriminately. The assassination of the mayor of Evian can be likened to the assassination of Ali Boumengel in its method and motivation. For the colonists, the alternative is not between an Algerian Algeria and a French Algeria, but between an independent Algeria and a colonial Algeria. Anything else is hot air or an act of treason. The colonists' logic is unrelenting, and one is only baffled by the counter logic of the colonized behavior if one has remained out of touch with the colonists' way of thinking. Once the colonized have opted for counter-violence, police reprisals automatically call for reprisals by the nationalist forces. The outcome, however, is profoundly unequal, for machine gunning by planes or bombardments from naval vessels outweigh in horror and scope the response from the colonized. The most alienated of the colonized are once and for all demystified by this pendulum motion of terror and counter-terror. They see for themselves that any number of speeches on human equality cannot mask the absurdity whereby 7 Frenchmen killed or wounded in an ambush at the Sakamoti Pass sparks the indignation of civilized consciences, whereby the sacking of the Gurgur Douars, the Jera Dechra and the massacre of the population behind the ambush account for nothing. Terror, counter-terror, violence, counter-violence. This is what observers bitterly report when describing the circle of hatred which is so manifest and so tenacious in Algeria. All right. So there's a lot to unpack in that paragraph. Let's go back. Look at um, where Ali Boumengel. I'm gonna look them up. Ali Boumengel. Him up, I guess. Ali Boumengel was an Algerian militant and lawyer. Born in Relazane to an educated family, Boumengel was educated at Duvalier College in Blida, where he met with other future figures of the Algerian Revolution, such as Abani Ramdane, Ben Yosef Benkeda, and Saad Dalab. Dalab. Um, ooh, just looked at it's supposed to be 64 degrees tomorrow. So nice, very nice. He then oriented his career toward law. Erwin advised Boumengel to change his professional orientation, so he joined the litigation department for Shell Corporation while still Interesting. Okay. In 1955, he joined the National Liberation Front with his old friend Abani Ramdane. After Ramdane was released from prison, Ramdane advised Boumengel to change his professional orientation, so he joined the litigation department of the Shell Corporation, while still continuing his militantism, that's a word, in the FLN, National Liberation Front. Boumengel was arrested on February 9th, 1957, and underwent over a month of torture at the hands of Paul Ausarese and his men. Fucking French names. There's like 6 S's in that. 5 S's. Aussaresses. That's that guy's fucking name. On March 23rd, he was thrown from the 6th floor of a building. His death was passed off as a suicide. 43 years later, in 2000, Ausarese admitted that Boumengel had been murdered. Yeah, no shit. Cool. So, gonna do an even more truncated version of this guy's. And the assassination of the mayor of Evian. Assassination of mayor of Evian. Well, Algeria: The Last Ordeal. International Journal. Nope, that's a JSTOR thing. I don't have access because I'm not rich or a student, which is basically the two immigration and the Evian Conference between 1933 and the Nazis sought to make Germany. Oof. All right, let's see. The Evian Conference. In July 1938, a conference of nations met at Evian, France, to discuss the issue of Jewish refugees. I don't think that's. Maybe it's the one. Let's see if there's mayor. Nope, mayor's not in there. Simply called Evian, is a French commune, Haute Savoy. So, ugh. So like Geneva, unswept corners of Daphne's murder, forbidden stories. Look back and learn. The Evian Conference. No. All Alright, well, I guess France. Yeah. Okay, definitely not. Okay, I don't. I don't know what this is. If someone has any knowledge of this, please let me know, because I I don't fucking know, man. I don't know. Oh no, man. But we're gonna do a note about uh, let's see. Can be likened to the assassination of Ali Boumanjal. All right. Let's go this one. Let's call this. Oh, I should probably do it. Okay. No, we'll do that later. I'll figure that out later. I'm already wasting too much time not talking about the book. All right. Can be likened to the assassination of Ali Boumangel in its method and motivation. Um, the Boumangel Bowman. I was a member of the National Liberation Front who was a lawyer and member of the National Algerian National Liberation Front, who was tortured for over a month. Right? It said for a month, right? I've got too many windows open, too many windows open. And underwent over a month of torture at the hands of Paul S. Saris and his men. Let's see about this scumbag. Oh, God. Oh, what? That's fucking. Sorry, it's just an old man, which is ageist, but dude is a huge piece of shit. So, but I am going to show a picture of this piece of shit because why not? Give me 1 second. I'm also very bad at doing these things. I'm very bad at transitioning. I'm very bad at doing these things and transitioning. That's okay though. That's okay. Let's just add a new window capture. Window capture, add existing. Jesus, I have so many windows to capture. Tease. No. Paul as um All right. All right. We're showing it. We're showing it. We're showing it. Transition. Look at this fucking ancient piece of shit. Look at this old piece of shit. That's Paul Auseres. Fucking. Oh, of course, and he was almost 100 fucking years old. Yeah, the shitty, the fucking garbage people never die young. November 1918 to December 2013. Piece of shit. Anyway, back to no worries. No worries, Liquid. No worries, Liquid. You don't have to talk. Um, you can just listen to me be a dipshit. Um, okay, okay, let's continue. Do 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 do. Okay, I should close this because that's not helping, and this window's not helping, and um, that's it for right now. Okay. Master to do violence, colonial spread, Algeria, between an independent Algeria and a colonial Algeria. Oh, right. Um, where's the sacking of the? I should probably look that up too. So many things, so many references I don't know because for lots of reasons. A lot of it being the uh, American educational system. But also, why would we learn about uh, French colonialism if it's a thing we don't care about? Oof, interesting. Uh, wow, this website's layout is very bad. Um, it's just like way too something. I don't even know how to. I'm gonna show it to you. If my goddamn fucking computer will do its goddamn job right. I don't understand what this is. What is this? Oh, game capture. Let's just turn that off. All right, well, it's a website called Safe for Democracy. And the see, look, I don't know this. Why is this like war on Islam just like cut off at the top? Wittingly, or it seems increasingly unwittingly. Trump is gearing up to start a war. When was this from? March 30th, 2017. Steve Bannon's ugly ass face. Um, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, I guess. Some bullshit. Um, Metamorphic Thought, the works. Gugark? Syria, 13th province in the ancient kingdom of Armenia. So those are inhabitants, cantons, sister. I guess we don't need. another reference we don't need to know necessarily to get all of the Geradecra. So let's reread that part. They see for themselves that any number of speeches on human equality cannot mask the absurdity whereby 7 Frenchmen killed or wounded in an ambush at the Sacamoti Pass sparks the indignation of civilized conscience, whereas the sacking of the Guergar Duars, the Jera Decra, and the massacre of the population behind the ambush count for nothing. Okay. Terror, counter-terror, violence, counter-violence. This is what observers bitterly report when they describe the circle of hatred, which is so manifest and so tenacious in Algeria. So, continuing on with this note, so the assassination of man, Fanon is talking about how the violence Fanon writes of how. No, that doesn't sound right. I just don't want to sound like a baby when I'm reading this in an ASMR. Fanon writes about baby stuff like a little baby. Fanon writes of the Fanon speaks to the disproportionate scale of violence between colonized and colonizer. The colonizer perpetuates the greater portion. Perpetuates it in greater proportion, greater measure. Fanon speaks of the disproportionate scale of violence between colonized and colonizer. The colonizer perpetuates it in greater measure. And while the colonized tends to receive, while the colonized receives disproportionate response. Retaliation. A little editorializing, obviously. This is where Fanon speaks of the disproportionate scale of violence between colonized and colonizer. Colonizer perpetuates it in greater measure, while the colonized receives disproportionate retaliation. This is how we wind up with groups like, Jesus, I cannot spell, like ISIS, where we wind up with groups like ISIS as a result of colonization, imperial war, etc. ISIS, for example, is the result of the war on terror, decimating parts of decimating Iraq and Afghanistan, radicalizing people towards violence, especially. Gotta point this out because I don't think that unlike in what we're talking about right here. I think um, ISIS, the specific example of ISIS and like terror networks and stuff, is also the result of um, like desperation. I think desperation also counts in the North African and Algerian context, obviously, but this is more um, you know uh, a desperation of needing to take care of your family, basically, with where there's no social safety net. There are no fucking jobs. There's no ways to make money. And so you get conscripted into this, into ISIS so that you can fucking basically you on the promise that your family will be taken care of after fucking blow yourself up or lop some heads or are, killed by um, you know, friendly fire or U.S. troops or other groups in Syria, etc., etc. So ISIS, for example, is the result of the war on terror decimating Iraq and Afghanistan. I'm gonna say Iraq, Afghanistan, to some extent, Syria, and creating alliances radicalizes the people in those areas towards violence out of desperate circumstances. I hope that doesn't sound too fucking reductive, but that's where I'm at on that. In armed struggle, there is what we call the point of no return. It is almost always attributable to the sweeping repression which encompasses every sector of the colonized population. This point was reached in Algeria in 1955 with the 12,000 victims of Philippeville and in 1956 by uh Lacostes creation of rural and urban militias. All right, and there's a little note here. Holy shit, this is a long note. I'm gonna note that. Hot damn, that is big. That's okay. Just means this section will be a little bit less something. Let's see what it says, shall we? Let's save my work. Shit. I didn't even fucking read the whole thing. In order. Let's try this again. Oh. Should do. Oh no, I didn't. All right, let's try that again. Liberation, Sarah. Sarah. 12. Point font. That's a long ass a quote. In order to gauge the importance of this decision by the French government in Algeria, we need to return to this period. In issue number 4 of Resistance Algérienne, dated March 28th, 1957, we read, in response to the wishes of the United Nations General Assembly, the French government has recently decided to create urban militias. Enough bloodshed, said the... Oh. The French government has recently decided to create urban militias. Enough bloodshed, said the UN. Let us form militias, replies Lacoste. Cease fire, advised the UN. Let us arm the civilians, screams Lacoste. The two parties involved are requested to make initial contacts in order to agree on a democratic and peaceful solution, the UN recommended. Lacoste decrees that henceforth every European shall be armed and should fire on anybody appearing suspect. The savage, iniquitous repression bordering on genocide must above all things be combated by the authorities. Was then the general opinion. Lacoste retorts, let us systematize the repression, let us organize a manhunt of Algerians, and symbolically he hands over civilians power to military, okay, and symbolically he hands over civilian power to the military and military power to the civilians. The circle is sealed. In the middle of the Algerian, disarmed, starved, hounded, jostled, struck, lynched, and soon to be shot because he is a suspect. Today, in Algeria, there is not a single Frenchman who is not authorized or welcome to make use of his arms. Not a single Frenchman in Algeria who, 1 month after the UN's appeal for calm, who does not have permission or the obligation to unearth, fabricate, and hunt down suspects. Jesus fucking Christ, this is bleak. 1 month after the UN General Assembly's resolution, there is not a single European in Algeria who is not party to the most appalling acts of extermination in modern times. Democratic solution? Okay, concedes Lacoste. Let's start by eliminating the Algerians. In order to do so, let's arm the civilians and let them do the job. The majority of the Parisian press cautiously reported the creation of these armed gangs. Fascist militia, they said. Yes, but at the level of the individual and human rights, what is fascism but colonialism at the very heart of traditionally colonialist countries? Systematically authorized and condoned assassination, they suggested. But for 130 years, hasn't Algerian flesh borne the marks of ever gaping, ever growing, ever deeper wounds? We shall be careful, advises Monsieur Vignes? I don't know, fuck. I'm not French. Parliamentary member of the MRP party, not to widen the abyss between the two communities in Algeria by creating these militias. Yes, but isn't the colonial status the organized enslavement of an entire people? The Algerian Revolution is precisely the living challenge to this enslavement and this abyss. The Algerian Revolution addresses the occupying nations as follows. Remove your fangs from Algeria's bruised and wounded flesh. Let the Algerian people speak. The creation of these militias, they say, will alleviate the army. They will free units whose mission is to protect the borders with Tunisia and Morocco. A 600,000 strong army, almost the entire Navy and Air Force, a vast police network operating expeditiously with a staggering record since it recruited the ex-torturers of the Moroccan and Tunisian peoples. Let me read that again. A 600,000 strong army, almost the entire Navy and Air Force, a vast police network operating expeditiously with a staggering record since it recruited the ex-torturers of the Moroccan and Tunisian peoples. Territorial units, 100,000 men strong. The job of the army must be alleviated. Let's create urban militias. So impressive is Lacoste's criminal and hysterical frenzy, it convinces even clear-sighted Frenchmen. Sorry. Yeah. Repositioning. The truth is that the justification for creating such militias is contradictory in itself. The French army's job is infinite. From the moment its mission is to gag the mouths of the Algerians, the the door to the future is closed forever. Above all, there is a refusal to analyze, to understand, and to gauge the depth and the density of the Algerian Revolution. Every district, every section, every street, every housing block, every floor has its community leader. Coverage on the ground is now backed up by coverage floor by floor. In 48 hours, 2,000 candidates were enrolled. The Europeans of Algeria immediately responded to Lacoste's call for murder. From now on, every European will have to make a list of the surviving Algerians in his sector. Gathering intelligence, rapid response to terrorism, identifying suspects, elimination of runaways, and police reinforcements. Yes, the army must be alleviated of such jobs. Combing the ground is now backed up by combing floor by floor. Haphazard killings are now backed up by a premeditated murder. Stop the bloodshed, urged the UN. The best way of doing so, retorts Lacoste, is to have no more blood to shed. Fucking Christ. After having been delivered up to Massou's hordes, the Algerian people are now entrusted to the care of the urban militias. Lacoste's decisions to create these militias clearly means hands off his war. It is proof there. What? God, my brain. My brain. It's these fucking lights. It's a green screen. I guess I probably don't need them, but it's hard to. Anyway. Haphazard killings are now backed up by premeditated murders. Stop the bloodshed, urged the UN. The best way of doing so, retorts Lacoste, is to have no more blood to shed. After having been delivered up to Massou's hordes, the Algerian people are now entrusted to the care of the urban militias. Lacoste's decision to create these militias clearly means hands off his war. It is proof there are no limits once the rot has set in. Of course, now he is a prisoner, but what a delight to drag down everyone with him. After every one of these decisions, the Algerian people increase their muscular tension and intensify their struggle. After every one of these organized requisition killings, the Algerian people better structure their consciousness and strengthen their resistance. Yes, the tasks for the French army are infinite because the unity of the Algerian people is infinite. Oh, so infinite. Whew. That is a roller coaster. Holy shit. Okay. It then becomes evident for everyone, and even for the colonists, that things cannot go on as they are and have to change. The colonized, however, do not keep accounts. They register the enormous gaps left in their ranks as a kind of necessary evil. Since they have decided to respond with violence, they admit the consequences. Okay. They admit the. Jesus, there's another one right there too. The colonized, however, do not keep accounts. They register the enormous gaps left in their ranks as a kind of necessary evil. Okay. Since they have decided to respond with violence, they admit the consequences. Their one demand is that they are not asked to keep accounts for others as well. To the expression, all natives are the same, the colonized reply, all colonists are the same. And let's go. This one is at least much shorter. Liberation. Nope, not liberation. Liberation serif. 12-point font. Cool. Uh, the colonized subject is tortured when his wife is killed or raped. Fuck. He complains to no one. The authorities of oppression can appoint as many commissions of inquiry and investigation as they like. In the eyes of the colonized, these commissions do not exist. And in fact, soon it will be 7 years of crimes committed in Algeria, and not a single Frenchman has been brought before a French court of justice for the murder of an Algerian. In Indochina, Madagascar, and the colonies, the native has always known he can expect nothing from the other side. The work of the colonist is to make even dreams of liberty impossible for the colonized. The work of the colonized is to imagine every possible method for annihilating the colonist. On the logical plane, the Manichaeanism of the colonist produces a Manichaeanism of the colonized. The theory of the absolute evil of the colonist is in response to the theory of the absolute evil of the native. The arrival of the colonists signifies syncretically the death of indigenous society, cultural lethargy, and petrifaction of the individual. For the colonized, life can only materialize from the rotting cadaver of the colonist. Such, then, is the term-for-term correspondence between the two arguments. So, arrival of the colonists signified syncretically the death of the indigenous society. Oh. Oh, okay. I thought I thought it was saying that it was the death of indigenous society, the death of cultural lethargy. Okay, no, it makes more sense as it's the death of indigenous society, the onset of cultural lethargy, and the petrifaction of the individual. Okay. The arrival. Oh shit. We're gonna have to do different numbers for these ones. Maybe not. No, let's make it so it's we're gonna do so that the things are accurate. I'm gonna do A through Z for my notes and regular numbers for the numbers for the footnotes. So the arrival of the colonists signified syncretically the death of the indigenous. Let's say in this view, colonist and colonized. Um, perpetuate each other. And in order to free themselves, and therefore, in order to free themselves, The colonized must purge themselves of the let's see. Kind of. In this view, the colonizer only exists if there is a colonized, and therefore the colonized only exists when there is a colonizer. Therefore, ugh, don't like to repeat words that close together if I don't have to. In this view, the colonizer only exists if there is a colonized, and the colonized only exists when there is a colonizer, unless I'm proving a point. Therefore, what was it? Therefore, to become free, the colonized must purge their must. Therefore, to become free, the colonized must kill if not literally, then at least symbolically. Yeah, therefore, to become free, the colonized must kill, if not literally, then at least symbolically, but kind of literally. Must kill. I haven't had to use my brain in a while. I haven't had to use the thinky port. Colonized must kill the colonizer. All this is to say that the violence of colonialism necessitates and violence of the well, this is to say that the violence of colonialism necessitates violence of the colonized to free themselves of colonialism. I think my roommate disagrees and usually points to like India, which I should research a little better to kind of come back, clap back against it, if you will. Ugh, clapbacks. Why would I say that? Such so lame for me to say it. I'll just put it that way. Me, a white. Alright. Let us continue. The arrival of the colonized. But it so happens that for the colonized, this violence is invested with positive, formative features because it constitutes their only work. This violent praxis is totalizing since each individual represents a violent link in the great chain. Ooh, violent links. In the almighty body of violence, the almighty body of violence rearing up in reaction to the primary violence of the colonizer, factions recognize each other and the future nation is already indivisible. The armed struggle mobilizes the people, i.e., it pitches them in a single direction from which there is no turning back. When it is achieved during a war of liberation, the mobilization of the masses introduces the notion of common cause, national destiny, and collective history into every consciousness. Consequently, the second phase, i.e., nation building, is facilitated by the existence of the mortar needed with blood and rage. Of this mortar needed with blood and rage. This then gives us a better understanding of the originality of the vocabulary used in underdeveloped countries. During the colonial period, the people were called upon to fight against oppression. Following national liberation, they are urged to fight against poverty, illiteracy, and underdevelopment. The struggle, they say, goes on. The people realize that life is an unending struggle. The violence of the colonized, we have said, unifies the people. By its very structure, colonialism is separatist and regionalist. Colonialism is not merely content to note the existence of tribes, it reinforces and differentiates them. The colonial system nurtures the chieftainships and revives the old confraternities. Violence in its practice is totalizing and national. As a result, it harbors in its depths the elimination of regionalism and tribalism. The nationalist parties therefore show no pity at all towards the cades of the traditional chiefs. The elimination of the cades and the chiefs is a prerequisite to the unification of the people. Alright. I'm going to make a little note there. Very quick one. Because I think that part's fairly easy to understand, right? That, colonialism maintains and upholds difference, tribalism, regionalism. Therefore, the national struggle must the elimination of colonialism maintains and upholds difference, tribalism, etc., so that it can 1. Maintain power, and 2. Create a secondary class that it has power over. Without this difference, this class division, colonialism cannot exist, and therefore the rule, no. So without this class division, colonialism cannot exist, and therefore national liberation, and therefore a real national let's say the nationalist project and therefore the national liberation, because I don't want to make, I want to make it clear that I'm not talking about nationalism like we think of in the States or whatever, not like fucking America for Americans or England for the English bullshit, because that's fascist nonsense. but like, actual a liberatory national struggle, right? Therefore, the national liberation must, at its heart, therefore, national liberation struggle must destroy this these divisions. All right, a little longer than I thought, but it's fine. It's fine. Prerequisite to the unification of the people. The individual level violence is a cleansing force. It rids the colonized of their inferiority complex or their passive and despairing attitude. It emboldens them and restores their self-confidence. Even if the armed struggle has been symbolic, and even if they have been demobilized by rapid decolonization, the people have time to realize that liberation was the achievement of each and every one, and no special merit should go to the leader. Aha, here we go. This is how we do it, I guess. Violence hoists the people up to the level of the leader, hence their aggressive tendency to distrust the system of protocol that young governments are quick to establish. When they have used violence to achieve national liberation, the masses allow nobody to come forward as a liberator. They prove themselves to be jealous of their achievements and take care not to place their future, their destiny, and the fate of their homeland into the hands of a living God. Totally irresponsible yesterday, today they are bent on understanding everything and determining everything. Enlightened by violence, the people's consciousness rebels against any pacification. The demagogues, the opportunists, and the magicians now have a difficult task. The praxis which pitched them into a desperate man-to-man struggle has given the masses a ravenous taste for the tangible. Any attempt at mystification in the long term becomes virtually impossible. Unfortunately, I don't think. I mean, Fanon didn't live long enough to see, basically that all. None of that come to fruition. That I don't even know that the national liberation struggle, while it had all those potentials, also wound up recreating a lot of the things that he's talking about that they destroyed. But that's dialectics, I guess. That's historical materialism or some shit. I don't know. Let's just say this is the last sentence on the last two sentences. Um, um, praxis which pitch them into a desperate man-to-man struggle. They've used violence to achieve national liberation. The masses allow nobody to come forward as a liberator. I'm just gonna write basically what I just said. Unfortunately, Fanon did not live long enough to see this basically be proven as really? You don't think disproven is a word? Whatever. Disproved. God, now that I'm reading it, it doesn't sound like anything. Jesus. Basically. I see this basically disproved. primarily by the hands of not let's not say Western, at the hands of let's say you know what? Primarily by the hands of I guess it's not disproved, but let's say organizations like the CIA. Um, let's say fortunately or unfortunately, because fortunately or unfortunately, because you know he didn't have to see it, I guess. Or he didn't have to see the full extent of it. Not live long enough to see this fail as organizations like the CIA um, were to capture, and capitalize pretty much all of these countries. All of them. I can't think of one that they didn't. They're able to recapture and capitalize and cannibalize. Let's say cannibalize them for capital prop. Fortunately or unfortunately, Fanon did not live long enough to see this fail, as organizations like the CIA were able to recapture and cannibalize them for them of capitalism, capitalismo. We're able to recapture and cannibalize them in the name of capitalism uh, by as client states, more or less. That's probably going to be good for my next ASMR video. That's a lot of notes. Yeah. Cool. We'll continue. That'll mean I just have to fucking record all that shit and send it out as videos, which is gonna be a long process, but that's okay. We're making progress. I'm taking notes. We're making progress. Let's part 6 on violence. What is this? On violence in the international context? On violence in the international context. That's, I guess, part 2. Oh, did I mean to underline that? No, but you know what? It's fine. It works. I like it. I like it. Um. Oh wow, that was bad. Um, let's see. Once uh Yeah. Um. mhm. Yeah. Okay. Let's see this. Why don't I just open it in the fucking app? Why can't I just open it in the fucking app? Onion Beats. Just gonna look it up. Really? That's why. Anjuna Beats X Twitch. What? Oh, okay. It's 500 songs. Ew, no. Not what I want. Oh, God. No, no, not gonna fucking. I want some shit that's like chill. Chill. What are each of these fucking. Sorry, I've gone down the rabbit hole of fucking bullshit. Anjuna Beats. Trance. I want like. Let's see. This does not sound like chill out. It sounds very loud. Why is it so loud? Ugh. Yeah, no, I actually hate this. Never mind. I just want to play some fucking dumb music. Some just like chill ass music so I can continue reading this for a little bit longer and fucking try beta. Sign up with Twitch. Authorize. Fucking hell. Stations. Uh, chill bass, synthwave, house screws, chill. Let's see what chill. Oh, let's do. Oh, cool. They have a lo-fi. All right. That should work. Interesting. I'm looking at it's like weird how to geek article on how to find Twitch approved music for streaming. This is a really like silly thing. Music you're not allowed to use in Twitch streams. Blah blah blah. A radio style broadcast, a lip sync syncing performance, a cover of a song, performance of any song owned by someone else with the exception of a live performance on your Twitch stream. If you do perform a cover song in a live stream, make a good faith effort to perform the song as it was written by the songwriter. Create all audio elements yourself without incorporating instrumental tracks, recordings, or any other element created or owned by others. Sounds contradictory and is weird. I don't know, it sounds fucking weird to me. I don't know if that sounds weird to anybody else. If you do perform a cover song in a live stream, make a good faith effort to perform the song as it was written by the songwriter. Why? It's a cover song. You're doing a cover. You're supposed to give it your own spin. Those are the best covers. And they're telling you, no, you should do it as close to the original as possible. Fucking stupid. Anyway. Shall we continue? I say we shall. So, what I say goes, because this is my stream and I'm a stream despot, and it's just kind of sounds like I'm talking into the void, because I basically am. More beer. Okay. On violence in the international context. We have many times indicated in the preceding pages that in underdeveloped countries, the political leader is constantly calling on the people to fight against colonialism, to fight against poverty and underdevelopment, to fight against debilitating traditions. The vocabulary he uses is that of a chief of staff. Mobilization of the masses, the agricultural front, the illiteracy front, defeats suffered, victories won. During its early years, the young independent nation evolves in the atmosphere of a battleground. This is because the political leader of an underdeveloped country is terror-stricken at the prospect of the long road that lies ahead. He appeals to the people and tells them, "Let us roll up our sleeves and get to work." Gripped in a kind of creative frenzy, the nation plunges into action of a hugely disproportionate nature. The agenda is not only to pull through, but to catch up with the other nations, as best one can. There's a widespread relief that the European nations have reached their present stage of development as a result of their labors. Let us prove, therefore, to the world and ourselves that we are capable of the same achievements. Posing the problem of development of underdeveloped countries in this way seems to be neither... Oh, thanks, Liquid. So it's got a dip, but this was interesting to listen to. Thanks for supporting and listening, coming to hang out. Yeah. Have a good evening. Okay. Let us roll up our sleeves and get to work. Gripped in a kind of creative frenzy, the nation plunges into action of a hugely disproportionate nature. The agenda is not only to pull through, but to catch up with the other nations as best one can. There is a widespread belief that the European nations have reached their present stage of development as a result of their labors. Let us prove, therefore, to the world and ourselves that we are capable of the same achievements. Posing the problem of development of underdeveloped countries in this way seems to us to be neither right nor reasonable. There's a widespread belief that European nations have reached their... Well, let's continue. I'm not gonna note that just yet. The European nations achieved their national unity at a time when the national bourgeoisie had concentrated most of the wealth in their own hands. Shopkeepers and merchants, clerks and bankers monopolized finance, commerce, and science within the national framework. The bourgeoisie represented the most dynamic and prosperous class. Its rise to power enabled it to launch into operations of a crucial nature such as industrialization, the development of communications, and eventually the quest for overseas outlets. In Europe, barring a few exceptions, England, for instance, had taken a slight lead. States achieving national unity were in roughly the same economic situation. Because of the nature of their development and progress, no nation insulted the others. Interesting. Weird. Today, national independence and nation building in the underdeveloped regions take on an entirely new aspect. In these regions, except for some remarkable achievements, every country suffers from the same lack of infrastructure. The masses battle with the same poverty, wrestle with the same age-old gestures, and delineate what we would call the geography of hunger with their sunken bellies. A world of underdevelopment, a world of poverty and inhumanity, but also a world without doctors, without engineers, without administrators. Facing this world, the European nations wallow in the most ostentatious opulence. This European opulence is literally a scandal, for it was built on the backs of slaves. It fed on the blood of slaves and owes its very existence to the soil and subsoil of the underdeveloped world. Europe's well-being and progress were built with the sweat and corpses of blacks, Arabs, Indians, and Asians. This we are determined never to forget. When a colonialist country embarrassed by a colony's demand for independence proclaims, with the nationalist leaders in mind, if you want independence, take it and return to the Dark Ages. The newly independent people nod their approval and take up the challenge. And what we actually see is the colonizer withdrawing his capital and technicians and encircling the young nation with an apparatus of economic pressure. Hoo boy, another long note. That's okay. I'm here for it. So why did this music stop? Wait, is that... Oh, it is that Harris. Okay. That's cool. I didn't know he made music. This is a song from Harris Heller. He's a pretty big YouTube Twitch stream guy. Anyway. Doing a little copy pasta over here. Alright. Copy a pasta. And I have to change the fucking font every goddamn time. Fucking sucks. Liberation serif. 12 point. In the current international context, capitalism does not impose an economic blockade solely upon the colonies in Africa and Asia. And Asia. And Asian, Jesus. The US, with its anti-Castro policy, has inaugurated in the Western Hemisphere, a new chapter in the history of man's laborious fight for freedom. Sorry, I'm gonna open my window real quick. Oh, no. I simply must needs a better setup, but in lieu of that, this will suffice, I suppose. Alright, Castro atmosphere. Let America, composed of independent countries sitting at the UN with their own national currency, should be a lesson for Africa. Since their liberation, these former colonies live in terror and destitution under Western capitalism's stranglehold. The liberation of Africa and the development of man's consciousness have enabled the peoples of Latin America to break the spiral of dictatorships, where one regime looked very much like the next. Castro takes power in Cuba and hands it to the people. The Yankees feel this heresy to be a national scourge, and the Scourge? I don't know, whatever. And the U.S. organizes counter-revolutionary brigades, fabricates a provisional government, burns the sugarcane harvest, and finally decides to place an implacable stranglehold on the Cuban people. It won't be easy, however. The Cuban people will suffer, but they will win in the end. Llanos Cuadros, the Janos, I guess. Yeah. Jesus. Right? How am I this bad at Spanish? I'm Mexican. Janos Cuadros, the president of Brazil. He's Brazilian. That's also why. So it's like Janos? I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. President of Brazil recently declared in a declaration of historical importance that his country will defend the Cuban Revolution by every means possible. Perhaps the U.S., too, will bow to the will of the people. That will be a day for rejoicing, since it will be a crucial moment for men and women throughout the world. The almighty power of the dollar, whose security, after all, is only guaranteed by the slaves of this world, toiling in the oil wells of the Middle East, the mines of Peru, and the Congo, and the United States fruit or firestone plantations, will then cease to dominate these slaves who created it, and who continue to drain their heads and bellies of all their substance to feed it. There will be a day of rejoicing when... Wait. I mean... Very... What's the word? I mean, Cuba's still here. Cuba still exists. And they're... For a fucking poor-ass country, which is a hugely our fault with embargoes and shit. They're doing a lot better than... They're probably doing relatively better than we are in this fucking country right now. Anyway, that's just my hot take. The apotheosis of independence becomes the curse of independence. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm dumb. I don't know words. I went to college and I don't know words. What the fuck does apotheosis mean again? Exaltation to divine rank or stature, elevation or to a preeminent or transcendental position, glorification, an exalted or glorified example. Okay. In science, in an essay entitled The Limitless Power of Science, Peter Atkins describes science as an apotheosis, writing, alright, I don't care. That's... Also, what the fuck is this song? This does not feel, Oh, it's because it's... I was just playing... Is this just all Harris? No, but a ton of it's Harris. Damn. Anyway. Sorry, I get easily distracted. What does that mean? I don't know. Does that mean I have ADHD undiagnosed? Probably not. It just means this fucking world is full of stupid distractions. This is a distraction. I'm doing distractions right now. The apotheosis of independence becomes the curse of independence. The sweeping powers of coercion of the colonial authorities condemn the young nation to regression. In other words, the colonial power says, if you want independence, take it and suffer the consequences. The nationalist leaders then are left with no other choice but to turn to their people and ask them to make a gigantic effort. These famished individuals are required to undergo a regime of austerity. These atrophied muscles are required to work out of all proportion. An autarkic regime is established in each state with the pitiful resources at its disposal, endeavors to address the mounting national hunger and the growing national poverty. We are witness to the mobilization of a people who now have to work themselves to exhaustion, while a contemptuous and bloated Europe looks on. All right, I'm gonna take a second to write a little note about that. Not because I think it needs explanation, because I think it's fairly self-explanatory, but more to do like a little like addition to it, I guess. Shit. Because shit, am I gonna remember what I just thought? Do I have brain problems? Let's see. So when the colonizer retreats back to their homeland, i.e. Europe / the US, etc. When the colonizer retreats back to their homeland, Europe or the US or etc., they basically pull the ladder up with them, right? They profited off the backs of the colonized, and now that the colonized have fought and won their independence, right? They profited off the backs of the colonized. Now that the colonized have fought and won their independence, the colonizer, let's call them the colonial power, retracts with all its riches. They take as much as they can. Let's do it real scientific like. They extract as much I'm kind of repeating myself. They extract as much profit as back to the home country and leave the former colonized to starve. Basically tell them to get bent. After, they've sucked as many resources as they could from the colony. Yeah, that sounds right. They basically pull the ladder up with Other third world countries refuse to accept such an ordeal and agree to give in to the terms of the former colonial power. Taking advantage of their strategic position in the Cold War struggle, these countries sign agreements and commit themselves. The formerly colonized territory is now turned into an economically dependent country. I guess I'll add. What Fanon says next. Other third world countries refuse to accept such an ordeal and agree to give in to the terms of the former colonial power. Taking advantage of their strategic position in the Cold War struggle, these countries sign agreements and commit themselves. The formerly colonized territory is now turned into an economically dependent country. The former colonizer, which has kept intact and in some cases reinforced its colonial marketing channels, agrees to inject small doses into the independent nation's budget in order to sustain it. Now that the colonial countries have achieved their independence, the world is faced with the bare facts that makes the actual state of the liberated countries even more intolerable. The basic confrontation, which seemed to be colonialism versus anti-colonialism, indeed capitalism versus socialism, is already losing its importance. What matters today, the issue which blocks the horizon, is the need for a redistribution of wealth. Humanity will have to address this question no matter how devastating the consequences may be. It was commonly thought that the time had come for the world, and particularly for the third world, to choose between the capitalist system and the socialist system. The underdeveloped countries, which made use of the savage competition between the two systems in order to win their national liberation, must, however, refuse to get involved in such rivalry. The third world must not be content to define itself in relation to the values which preceded it. On the contrary, the underdeveloped countries must endeavor to focus on their very own values as well as methods and style specific to them. The basic issue with which they are faced is not the unequivocal choice between socialism and capitalism, such as they have been defined by men from different continents and different periods of time. We know, of course, that the capitalist way of life is incapable of allowing us to achieve our national and universal project. Capitalist exploitation, the cartels and monopolies are the enemies of the underdeveloped countries. On the other hand, the choice of a socialist regime, entirely devoted to the people, based on the principle that man is the most precious asset, will allow us to progress faster and in greater harmony, consequently ruling out the possibility of a caricature of society where a privileged few hold the reins of political and economic power without a thought for the nation as a whole. Oof. Sorry, I was just mulling that over. But let's continue. But in order for the regime to function feasibly and for us to constantly abide by the principles which have been our inspiration, we need something other than human investment. Certain underdeveloped countries expend a huge amount of energy along these lines. Men and women, young and old, enthusiastically commit themselves to what amounts to forced labor and proclaim themselves slaves of the nation. The spirit of self-sacrifice and devotion to the common interest fosters a reassuring national morale, which restores man's confidence in the destiny of the world and disarms the most reticent of observers. We believe, however, that such an effort cannot be sustained for long at such an infernal pace. These young nations accepted to take up the challenge after the unconditional withdrawal of the colonizer. The country finds itself under new management, but in actual fact, everything has to be started over from scratch. Everything has to be rethought. The colonial system, in fact, was only interested in certain riches, certain natural resources, to be exact, those that fueled its industries. Up till now, reliable survey has been made of the soil or subsoil. As a result, the young independent nation is obliged to keep the economic channels established by the colonial regime. It can, of course, export to other countries and other currency zones, but the basis of its exports remains basically unchanged. The colonial regime has hammered its channels into place, and the risk of not maintaining them would be a catastrophe. Perhaps everything needs to be started over again. The type of exports need to be changed, not just their destination. The soil needs researching as well as the subsoil, the rivers, and why not the sun. In order to do this, however, something other than human investment is needed. It requires capital technicians, engineers, and mechanics, etc. Let us confess, we believe that the huge effort demanded of the people of the underdeveloped nations by their leaders will not produce the results expected. If working conditions are not modified, it will take centuries to humanize this world, which the imperialist forces have reduced to the animal level. Oof. Damn, that is brutal. What's this? 12. Some countries... Oh, shit. My bad. Some countries which have benefited from a large European settlement acquire walls and avenues with their independence and tend to forget the poverty and starvation in the backcountry. In a kind of complicity of silence, by an irony of fate, they act as if their towns were contemporary with independence. Interesting. It's going on. I'd cover the third. I'm just going to continue. The truth is, we must not accept such conditions. We must refuse outright the situation to which the West wants to condemn us. Colonialism. Oh, fuck me. Sorry, I gotta check on something real quick. Mail. I think I missed a meeting that I should have gone to. Organizing mentor subcommittee. The meeting would be run through campaigns and maybe organize. Okay. Oh, that's a bummer for her. Sorry, someone I'm unionizing with is or in the IWW with, I should say, is trying to set up meetings for stuff, and the only day that works is a day she doesn't really want to do meetings on weekends, which I understand, but it seems like Sunday nights are the only time we can all meet, which kind of sucks. Also, for me, sort of, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, the truth is we must not accept such conditions. We must refuse outright the situation to which the West wants to condemn us. Colonialism and imperialism have not settled their debt to us once they have withdrawn their flag and their police force from our territories. For centuries, the capitalists have behaved like real war criminals in the underdeveloped world. Deportation, massacres, forced labor, and slavery were the primary methods used by capitalism to increase its gold and diamond reserves and establish its wealth and power. Not so long ago, Nazism transformed the whole of Europe into a genuine colony. The governments of various European nations demanded reparations and the restitution in money and kind for their stolen treasures. As a result, cultural artifacts, paintings, sculptures, and stained glass windows were returned to their owners. In the aftermath of the war, the Europeans were adamant about one thing: Germany will pay. At the opening of the Eichmann trial, Mr. Adenauer, I don't know why I said doctor, on behalf of the German people, once again asked forgiveness from the Jewish people. Mr. Adenauer renewed his country's commitment to continue paying enormous sums of the state to Israel to compensate for Nazi crimes. And it is true that Germany has not paid in full the reparations for its war crimes. The compensation imposed on the conquered nations has not been claimed in full because the injured parties, included from the top. The compensation imposed on the conquered nation has not been claimed in full because the injured parties included Germany in their anti-communist defense system. The colonialist countries are motivated by the same concerns when they try to obtain military bases and enclaves from their former colonies, failing their integration into the system of the West. They have decided by common agreement to waive their claims in the name of NATO's strategy, in the name of the free world. And we have seen Germany receive wave after wave of dollars and equipment. A strong and powerful Germany, back on its feet, was a necessity for the Western camp. It was clearly in the interest of the so-called free Europe to have a prosperous, reconstructed Germany capable of serving as a bastion against the threatened Red Hordes. Germany has manipulated the European crisis. Consequently, the US and the other European states feel legitimately bitter toward this Germany, once brought to its knees and now one of their most ruthless competitors on the market. Yeah, I mean, I'd feel kind of shit about that too, but it's your own damn fault for fucking being anti-communists, I guess. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Being fucking anti-communist is just, like, the road to being a shithead. Like, I don't think I've ever met someone who's, like, you know, self-proclaimed anti-communist who isn't more or less a shithead. So who knows? Anyway, been going for 2.5 hours. Maybe another half hour. Call it quits. 20 minutes. I don't know. Do I want to end around midnight? Maybe I'll end around midnight. I don't know. Does anyone care? I don't. Is anyone actually listening to this? Anyway. Let's continue. And I'm probably just gonna put this on YouTube later, which that'll be fun to for people to be like, what the fuck is he talking about? Why is this guy being a fucking weirdo? Oh, hello. Hello, Sage. Just saw them. We're reading Wretched of the Earth by Frantz Fanon. It's about the anti-colonial struggle. Yeah, I just fuck. Hold on one second. Or you don't have to do anything, honestly. It's my end. I gotta change the settings on appearance. Just gotta change restream for a second because it's kind of hard to see here. It's for pleasure, I guess. I'm doing. If you look at my links down in my stuff, I have a YouTube channel. I'm doing ASMR, an ASMR reading of this for my YouTube channel. I just thought it'd be kind of like fun, for a good way for people who maybe don't know how to, not don't know how to, but don't have time, or for whatever reason don't read theory but want to learn some like leftist theory, to like, you know, have a relaxing kind of experience having that happen. So this stream, and I'm gonna do them more regularly. Maybe I'll do them on every Wednesday night. Maybe that's what I'll do. Yeah, thanks. Basically what I'm gonna do is so I'm reading these regular right now and just kind of taking notes and talking through. Awesome. Thanks for the follow. Yeah, check out this is like we're kind of deep in the weeds on this. But if you want to check out my first, I think I have 3 videos out right now. And I should actually finish the 4th. It's already recorded. I just need to edit it. But yeah, I should have that out soon. But yeah, I just kind of want to like do research on this stuff beforehand so I can have like a kind of cleaner stream, or a cleaner recording of the ASMR stuff. So this is kind of just like rough draft type shit. Awesome. I'm glad you love it. That's cool. Yeah, if you want to check out my links, you can also how long have I been doing this on Twitch? Like a few weeks, like literally maybe like a month. I do other stuff on Twitch as well, but like yeah, yeah, I'm pretty new. Yeah, if you want to I think I have a link to my Discord. Yeah, I've got a link to my Discord if you want to join that too. That's what I'd like to do in the future with these is get more people to like chat with me on this. I don't know, what's your background, Sage? Are you like a lefty, or do you know much about anything leftism related? Or you just came across my channel or something? Yeah, but just I would like to eventually get other people on this, like chatting with me in my Discord. How do you answer this? I don't know. How do you answer this? Yeah, I want to get people, maybe people with knowledge on the stream, to like chat with me about this as I read it, and kind of, you know, we can discuss what we're talking about. Um, 2 degrees in poli sci and international relations. Okay. All right. Well, this may be of interest to you. This is probably of interest to you then. Um, yeah, France. I don't know. Do you know anything about France Fanon? Sorry, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but oh, doing your PhD. Okay. Are you doing your PhD in like poli sci and don't remember that name? Yeah, so he was an Algerian what's the Marxist psychoanalyst, I think. If I remember correctly. What's your PhD in? What are you studying? Or what are you Yeah, I guess studying is the right word. I don't know. It's been so long since I've been in academia. Um, but yeah, he was uh a Marxist psychoanalyst, or yeah, I think he was a psychoanalyst. But he was I think he died in during the Algerian Revolution. Did a second master's in applied linguistics, and I'm now doing my PhD in composition and applied linguistics. Yeah, sure. Drop a link. All right, well, fuck. You're like the only person really responding to my stuff, so cool. Sageresearch.info. I will check that out. Oh god, this is doubling on. Wait. Let me move this so I can actually look at this. PhD student at Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Composition. Cool. Thanks for stopping and learning about Murray on crowdsourced learning. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I unfortunately don't know. Yeah, I don't know any other Twitch streamers doing stuff like this. But yeah, if you, yeah, any questions you have, I'm game to answer, or chat with you about any of this kind of stuff. Um, I don't know what exactly you're. Well, I guess I should continue reading your. You have one other. Okay. Let's see. There are several reasons for studying learning affordances of Twitch. Okay. In this unprecedented time of global pandemic, learners are looking for online options to support knowledge and skill building. Twitch is an incredibly popular interactive social platform with, over 15 million unique users. Only completely free to use. Streamers have the potential to earn revenue. Yep. Finally, I'm curious to understand how learning streams have developed organically on Twitch. Super cool. Yeah. Do you mind if I drop your link in my Discord? Uh, I'm gonna give this a tentative yes. Probably, yeah, I'd probably be interested in that. I mean, I would be interested in that. Barring any crazy shit happening. But yeah, I would be down. Do. Yeah, this is actually like what you're doing is super cool. I'm how do I what do I'm just gonna this person is studying uh, doing a PhD on You know what I'm doing with my specifically me, but you get it. Oh, I forgot I have. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Please feel free to ask any questions or anything. I do a bunch of other stuff on here too. Um, sure. Yeah, that's fine. Actually, that's great. I think that's a little you know, scratching each other's back kind of thing, you know? Yeah, please feel free. Yeah, absolutely. Uh Potential interview, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Oh, you know what? I actually do know another I do know another group that does reading on stream. That's not all they do, but that is one of the things they do weekly as well. Um and that is they are a larger channel than mine. But I will hold on. Their Psychic Dolphin Garage. They actually have they have their schedule for stuff because they do like gaming streams and stuff as well. But I think it's every Tuesday. Yeah, Psychic Dolphin Garage. Yeah, just drop the link in there too. Um, they're also doing like left reading. I can't remember what they're reading right now, but it's pretty cool. Um, yeah, they're super awesome. They also have a podcast. They're goofs. They're real nice folks. I'm sure they would be interested. Yeah. Um, why is this chill station? This chill station was playing and then it just stopped playing. Or did I pause it? I don't remember. My brain is mush, like I said. Well, I guess since I have you on the in chat, and we've taken this detour already, what got you into like what made you want to study this? No. You're great. This is a very entertaining interaction. I'm here for it. I'm just like now I'm curious of like why you decided to kind of study this, look into this for your PhD. If you could, a very, it doesn't have to be in depth, but I'm just curious. Okay. You did tech review for a call. And I chose Twitch because you're interested in MMOs. Okay, cool. Oh, for a class. That makes much more sense. Yeah, I was like, I was just kind of going with the flow. For a class makes a lot more sense than a call. Because you're interested in MMOs. Cool. Interested in MMOs in a oh, we're streaming their learning. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually interested in this. Obviously, I'm doing this thing. So I'm also interested in doing it, but I'm also like interested in I don't know, like I don't know like I said, I'm a leftist, so I'm coming at this kind of from a basis. My original dissertation topic was how the informal learning in MMORPGs transferred to formal learning. Okay, very interesting. And this kind of sprouted organically out of that, I assume. Sort of changed midstream, so to speak. I know. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, I know it's very awkward having a conversation with like the amount of lag between a stream and writing, but people like me streaming, they're learning and it blew your mind. That's very cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think especially as like I graduated college, then the pandemic happened and it just felt like it. Yeah, no, that's dope. That's very cool. You felt like it just had to be done. Yeah, that's super cool. I should put this up in the I don't feel like figuring this out right now. Maybe can I add this? Oh, I can probably add it as a URL, right? I'm sorry. I'm like, whatever. I'll just read what you're saying just so if I upload this to YouTube, people know what. Maybe I should add a page to my website. How did I choose this topic? I mean, that might not be a bad idea to do. Maybe. I mean, it wouldn't hurt. I don't think. I don't think it's necessary. It might be on YouTube. I don't know. I haven't 100% decided. There's a lot of I don't know how long you've been watching the stream, but there's a lot of the beginning of this stream. There's a lot to cut out because it was just me futzing around and being a dipshit. But damn, my brain. Oh, I went to college. I graduated college 10 years ago? Almost 10 years. Yeah, 10 years ago. Holy shit. Yeah, I have a BA in anthropology. So, that was my last like foray into learning, formal learning, I guess, is what you're calling it. But yeah, Anthro's super cool. I'm actually kind of getting a little bit back into it. I don't know. I've been mulling over. There was this anthropologist Clifford Geertz. It's Gertz. But he had this what's it called? Yeah, you know him. Okay, cool. Yeah. He had this like concept of basically that, like, what did he call it? Webs of significance. He had you read his Indonesian study. Okay, cool. Yeah. So he has this book called Interpretations of Culture. And like at the beginning he says, man is an animal suspended in webs of significance he himself has spun. And it's kind of one of the two interpretations of how culture forms, basically. From what I remember, like I said, it's been about 10 fucking years. So, but, I've been interested in that and also interested in, because, Marx has a similar concept, basically. Like, he doesn't have a huge concept of human nature, necessarily. He has that, like, species being stuff that he wrote about. And I haven't read too deep into it, but, but I've been really interested in this kind of like, I've always been interested in it, but more recently, I've been interested in it. What do I do now? I am unemployed right now. I used to be a restaurant worker. My restaurant closed. I've been unemployed for, holy shit, eight months now? Since basically since, you know, they locked everything down. Yeah. So I've been, yeah, it does suck. Thank you for your condolences. I'm not in New York. I'm in Chicago, actually. Yeah, so March 13th or whatever, that when everything closed, like, that was the last day I worked. And now I've been kind of like trying to figure out what the fuck I'm doing with my life. Because I do love bartending. That's what I was doing before, but I also do not want to bartend during a pandemic, and I'm been very sick for a very long time of being like horrifically exploited by I don't blame you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So I've been like trying to work with I've been doing some stuff with IWW, the International or Industrial Workers of the World, and also DSA has some restaurant organizing stuff that they're doing, and then this local group that we've kind of died down a whole hell of a lot, and I don't know what's gonna become of it currently, honestly. But this group called Chicago Restaurant Workers were kind of lying dormant right now, is what I'll say. Hopefully we will be doing more stuff soon. How did I come to want to stream about? Oh yeah, so this is kind of where I was going with all of that before. I'm really interested in this stuff. I'm also really bad at reading on my own. I'm like terrible at it. So that's a huge reason why I wanted to start doing this. And I think a lot of people, I kind of wanted to make this sort of more accessible to people, in a way that, like, I find like reading stuff like this, oh, that's so interesting. Thank you. Yeah. I think so. It motivates you to be online and read to an audience. Yes, basically. That's basically what I'm saying. And it's also like, it's a very stupid and small way. I'm trying to give back, not just like give back, but like help teach people. Because I want people to like learn about this, and I want people to be like, I want people interested in it to like have access to it in a way that like maybe they didn't have so much access to it before. Hold on one second. I'm gonna grab another beer real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, we are drinking Son of Juice. It is an India Pale Ale, a chip off the old hop, haha, from Maplewood Brewery, local brewery to Chicago. But sorry, I'm kind of a little ADD, maybe, I don't know. Cheers, Sage. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, I wanted to make this kind of more accessible to people. This is why I'm on this stream. I'm like kind of doing not free association, but like kind of less formal, less a little more loose, kind of like we're taking notes on this stuff so that I can read it on my ASMR stream. And I should have been doing this before. Now that I'm like 35% way through the book, but maybe I'll just like, that's a note to do from future. This is all a learning process for me too. Like I have my setup, but it's all janky and goofed. So yeah, I think it's really important for people to like learn this kind of stuff. I want more people to be able to learn it. I don't know who the hell I'm going to be reaching. I would like to reach, more people. I listen to a lot of podcasts. That's kind of my addiction. Like I'm addicted to podcasts. I listen to like 3 to 5 a day at least. That are all like an hour-ish long. Oh, nice. What do you listen to? What are some of your faves? Yeah, I mean, you can. Oh, you listen to Joe Rogan? That's very interesting. My little brother, thank God he's not like a fucking chud, but my little brother also listens to Joe Rogan. He's into like MMA and stuff, and he's like, like a relatively left guy. But yeah, what else? Sorry, you don't have to answer that. I don't mean to put you on the spot. But I'm just curious as to like what people listen to. I listen to a lot of like obnoxiously leftist shit. I listen to a lot of one of my favorites is, and I'm on their Discord constantly. You watch stuff on YouTube more, okay? Like specific YouTubers, or do you kind of jump around? Because yeah, more of a progressive. That's fair. Well, yeah, that's also where Humanist Report. I have not seen that one. I will check that out. Oh god. No, okay, cool. Mike Figueredo. Okay, interesting. The Young Turks. Do you listen to or watch the Majority Report at all? I do. Yeah, cool. Yeah. I like R.I.P. Michael Brooks. That guy, I was like surprisingly devastated when they, announced his death. I think I found out about it on Twitter or something. It was real fucked up. Like I've never met the dude, but like that hit me like pretty hard. David Pakman. Yeah, I've watched like a couple clips. I'm not super into him, but yeah, he's cool. Michael Brooks, he was on the Majority Report. He was the guy who wore all the like tracksuits and stuff. I don't know how deep into the Majority Report you are, but yeah, he wore like tracksuits and stuff. He did a bunch of like goofy impressions of like Obama, and like he did like what was it, like 3%er Obama, like a goofy, not 3%er Obama, whatever. He did like a weird like goofy like black nationalist Obama impression and like an MLK impression. He was a really good dude. And he had his own show, which is still going without him, but yeah, he died like a couple months ago, I think. Yeah, he had like a blood clot in his sleep, like in his throat. Like he just didn't wake up one morning. It's really fucking sad. A lot of people really liked him. I did too. I think he was like a real smart guy. But yeah. Yeah, his the Michael Brooks show is still exists. It's I don't know if they do YouTube stuff. It's more of a podcast, but they're very good. And then Jamie, who's also on the Majority Report, I listen to her podcast a lot. The Antifada, which is definitely like very, very militant left. But I mean, honestly, I'm part of like the people, part of the audience I want to I would like to have is more like progressive folks. Kind of. What was my take on Bernie Sanders? I think Bernie Sanders. I think Bernie Sanders was the. My take is he was the compromise candidate. Like he was as far right of a president as we needed. Like I think I have complicated feelings about Bernie. I really like Bernie as a guy. I think he's like, you know, I like his politics generally. But he's a New Deal Democrat, right? Like, this is why I want to, this is like why I want like more progressives folks as my audience, kind of. It's because I think there's a lot, to be learned from. Obviously, like, I want to push people left, but also like there's just like good shit in like Frantz Fanon's analysis. This is also why I started on this one, because it's like very prescient to the current moment, even though it's about colonialism. But it's still prescient to the current moment in the US. But I like Bernie Sanders. I was real mad at how the Democratic Party fucked him. I like, you know, he obviously probably the most left candidate we were gonna get. And real mad at what, like I said, real mad at what the Dems did to him. And I think he, for what it's worth, I know it's not worth dog shit, but I think he probably also would have won the presidency. Yeah, voting for Hillary was a bitter pill. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not, I voted for Hillary, too. Unfortunately, I did not vote for Joe Biden, this election. I voted for Gloria La Riva because I live in a state that was going to be blue anyway. That was my reasoning for it. Like, I did not see my vote going to Biden helping at all. So I voted more on my conscience, this election, because I knew it wouldn't really matter. And look, we've got Joe Biden coming in as president, I guess. Which I don't know how you feel about that. If Trump won, I couldn't feel at all responsible, so I voted for Hillary. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, yeah, that's kind of how I felt. I remember I remember election night. Yeah, Joe is a bought and paid for Dem. He's I like my hot take is that it's not even that hot of a take, I guess, but is that, you know, he is one of the biggest causes for why we are where we are in this current moment. And electing him as president isn't just like a slap in the face. It's not, we're not gonna go back to normal. We're just going to, I mean, we'll go back to normal for, you know, 5 minutes. And then we're just gonna get some worse, like, reactionary, probably winning the presidency within the next 10 to 15 years. 10 to 12, I guess. That's my take, at least. I don't know, I think that guy's a piece of shit. What was I doing? Oh, I was gonna figure out how to do this stupid thing. What's my goal in reading this on stream? Like reading Fanon on stream? Like I said, the streaming is more for, would be more for pals, not like people on my Discord, people in the other Discords that I'm in, like if they want to just like hang out. Like I would, like I said, ideally I would like people to like drop into my Discord chat who are knowledgeable or want to discuss this on my stream. Like I would love to like read this and like, you know, found you by total chance. I didn't really know what your channel was about. How did you find me? Was it just the reading aloud tag? Or was it like a, yeah, I guess I don't know. How'd you end up finding me? Yeah, okay. Cool, so the algorithm works, I guess. As much as I hate that. And then for my thumbnail, from my fucking hazard symbol thumbnail, you saw a bunch of text, leftism, shitty gaming, music, and mostly being a dip. Yeah. But yeah, what do I want to get out of the stream? Yeah, like people engaging with it. Like I want to discuss this stuff, see what people think about this, see if like, I know there's a couple people I know who have read this before, and who are like fairly well versed on like, you know, like this kind of stuff, like Marxism, Leninism type stuff, I guess. And I just want to have like some discussions about it, learn some stuff, take down notes. Like mostly I'm doing this to like take down notes so that I can do the ASMR stream, or well, yeah, I guess stream too, but you know, turn those into videos, into YouTube videos. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. I want people to be able to learn this stuff and like engage with it. Yeah, I've never heard of an ASMR stream and political reading. I think I'm there for it. Awesome, dope. Yeah, dude. I mean, check out my videos. They're a work in progress, but we're doing it. Yeah. There's a reason I started doing that. It's because I didn't think I didn't really see any of that either. You know, it's either like, you know, dope, awesome. You know, most ASMR I listen to is like women being like cute and stuff, or like girlfriend role plays weirdly, or there's a lot of horny ASMR out there, which is weird, but you know, to each their own. And then like, you know, like you know, the basic kind of YouTube shit. unboxing stuff. Like, I didn't really see anyone doing any political stuff. I've never, yeah, Sage says you've never been into ASMR, much into ASMR. Yeah, I use it to go to sleep. I don't know. It does it for me. Does something for me sometimes. Though I usually play a podcast to go to sleep, huh? Yeah, that's legit. I'm here for that. I did, you know what I used to do? Which I used to like lie down with my laptop like on its side open and fall asleep watching Bob Ross videos. That was a big thing for me. Yeah, I would go to sleep. I would fall asleep to Bob Ross. Hey, no worries. Yeah, do your thing. Yeah, find me later. Join, like I said, join my Discord. It's not super lively, but I post when I'm about to do a stream or something, or whatever. And if you want to like chat in audio, you can do that too. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for subscribing to everything. Have a good night. Yeah. That's my goal with this stream, is to like talk to people about stuff, learn shit, learn about people, see what they're learning from stuff, stuff they're learning from this, I guess. But yeah, I won't keep you. Thanks for stopping by. Why does this mean? Does this just stop every like fucking? Weird. Transition. Just cause. Anything embarrassing on here? No. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to do something, but I don't remember what. Something about adding something to my stream. Tools. View. Docs. Chat. Users in chat. Lemon juices too.
I think it's called a...
Oh god. Oh, I wanted to add the chat. I wanted to add chat as a thing. Dude, how do I do that? Deprecate group window capture? Okay. Window capture. Or what is that? Discord, Calibre, Calibra. Discord, no. Calculator, no. Your office, real-time audio. No, I want none of that shit. Never mind. Do I have to? Oh, I might have to add a fucking URL or some shit. I know this is riveting streaming right now. Add existing. Haha! I already had it. Yes. Yes, I did. Properties. Height. Width. I want to change the width. How's that gonna look on stream? How is that gonna look on stream? We're gonna see. We're gonna transition. That's not terrible. It's not great. It's not terrible. Push me over here. Let's properties. See what 200 400 looks like. Properties. Let's see what a fucking square looks like. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. That'll do. What's it? Who's a what's it? View. Can I just look at this whole thing full screen? No, that's fine. Okay. We got it. We figured it out. It's fine. Yeah, well, now it's 12:30. And I said I'd be done 3 hours, but it's 3.5 hours. Which is okay by me. I'm here for it.